Well, from youth sports to high school, college, and the pros, Siouxland athletes face any number of injuries.
For a former local golf pro, just being able to grip his club became almost impossible, so he knew he had to see a doctor, and that call kept him on course. From the time he took up the game at 16, Josh Wendling knew he wanted to be a golf pro.
Not the guys that have to make 10-foot putts on the 18th hole to win Masters or U.S. Opens. I mean, we all dream about that, but I wanted to be a club pro.
But time spent on golf courses in high school, college, and as a club pro took a toll.
One day I was just doing a normal, curls, and I kind of felt like a twinge in my elbow.
And it got worse.
Then the weeks went by and I couldn't pick up my golf clubs anymore. Like literally couldn't grip a golf club in my hand without taking medication.
So Wendling went to his friend, CNOS orthopedic surgeon Dr. Ryan Meese, who diagnosed this scratch golfer with tennis elbow.
Tennis elbow, or we call it lateral condylitis, starts to happen when people get in their late 30s, early 40s, and it can initially be just a very minor nuisance, but occasionally it will advance to a point where it almost becomes debilitating. You can't grip. We kind of went through his workup and discovered he actually had not just a little bit of injury to his elbow, but the muscle had begun to completely pull off the attachment site.
Meese called Wendling to break the bad news.
He says, "What hand are you holding the phone in? Please move it to the other hand, or else it's going to rip fully and you're not going to be able to hold, have anything with that elbow."
So Meese scheduled surgery.
And so what we do is to make a small incision and put some anchors in the bone, some anchors made out of material that will be absorbed by the body with strong sutures attached to it, and pull that tissue right back to bone where it's supposed to be attached.
After the surgery in January of 2019, Meese told Wendling it could take 5 to 6 months to get back to competitive golf. Wendling played a tournament 4 months later.
I have zero pain. It's amazing.
Wendling had surgery on his right elbow in 2019, then a similar surgery on his left elbow in 2021. This week, we continue to share stories of recovery leading up to our special Recovery Road Inside Sports Medicine. It's airing Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. right here on KTIV.